Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you some more CasterMuse Star League Season 4. This is the 3rd and 4th place match, and it is a best of 7. This is game number 1 between Rush and Action. This is going to be an awesome Terran versus Zerg series. Action is really known as a later game Zerg. He's not someone that you expect to kill his opponent with his Mutalisk micro, but more likely tech up and get into those defilers and be able to win through things like Plague and Dark Swarm being used repeatedly. Rush just has very solid Terran versus Zerg. He generally goes for SK Terran, better known as Bio. Lots of Marines, lots of Medics, and lots of Science Vessels. His macro is multitasking, absolutely awesome. Now, the map is Eclipse, and I was going to mention about this. It's a little bit harder for Zerg, I think, in the late game. Securing the 4th base specifically. If Terran is very on top of their stuff, it can be pretty tough for Zerg to be able to do that. They get their 3 bases up pretty easily. You know, the main base, obviously, the natural... very clearly, and then Action should be taking right up here as his 3rd. And those will be easy for him to hold. But after that, there's no easy place to get to for your 4th base. And expect Rush to be heavily denying any attempts at that 4th base. That's really going to be kind of the key here for Rush. Now, looking at this, Rush is making a wall in at his natural. This is a pretty darn good wall. It'll allow Zerglings just in through like one hole. The Marines can pop out down here. So you basically don't need a bunker if you do a wall in like this, but the depots are susceptible to Mutalisk harassment and to possible lurker busts. Now the SCV coming down for the scout, and he's going to go ahead and see the hatchery here. Know that it's hatchery first, go into the main base, and we'll see if that gas gets taken. Oh, what is this from Action? What am I looking at here? Is he trying to sneak a quick 3rd base? Oh, this is going to be actually a very interesting game. Okay, so what Action is doing here is instead of going for a 2 hatchery play, he's decided to go 3 hatchery, but with a 3rd hatch at his 3rd base location. This has become slightly more trendy. For a long time, this was just a cheesy thing low-level players do, but I've seen more pro Zergs mixing this in occasionally, which is kind of funny because what it's supposed to do is really boost your economy a little bit. It slows down your Mutalisks, but it basically gives you a much higher drone economy and doesn't make you rely on those Mutalisks as much. But I guess the problem with it is that if Rush decides to do a heavy bio push, like if he just goes 2 barracks right away, yes, see 2 barracks, and goes for that academy, at a regular time, like 4 minutes, then he's going to be able to push out with bio, and there's going to be the problem of defending 2 locations before Mutalisks, right? You can take a pretty quick 3rd base if you have Mutalisks coming out before a bio push can hit, because you can just kill the bio off with that. But if you only have Zerglings, you either have to make a lot of Zerglings, or you have to make quite a few Sunkens at both places. Like, in this situation, it's likely that Action will have some Speedlings, but also he'll need 2 Sunkens up here, and he'll need 2 to 3 here if Rush chooses to push. So that's a lot of Sunken colonies that you have to end up buying. And, you know, that's why I feel like this is not as good a strategy, but I'm excited to see Action's take on it. He is a big-time macro Zerg, so this is going to be something that kind of fits into his style pretty well. All right, Rush keeping this SCV alive as long as he can. He knows the gas timings and everything. He's really aware of what's going on. We have that academy. Yeah, it's almost done, and yeah, this is actually an even faster academy. This is a bit of an academy rush. So when he gets Stim and Medics out, he is going to have like a very strong army to force those Sunkens. And if Action doesn't do that, he's going to be in really big trouble. Now the Hydralisk Den on the way. Okay, this is getting cheekier and cheekier here from Action. The fact that he's gone for a Hydralisk Den and it's hidden in his main base, this is going to allow him to get out pretty darn quick lurkers. And if he gets those lurkers out, of course, that's going to defend everywhere for him just perfectly. But still, this push is going to come out very, very fast. Oops. Turn off the vision, sorry. Now we are just checking stim here, and you can see it's like 3/4 of the way done. He's moving out. 8 Marines, 2 Medics. A very strong move out. We do have some Zerglings being brought out here. It looks like he has about 10, 12, 14 Zerglings maybe right now. There's the first creep colony. We don't see one here yet. More Lings being made. Lurker aspect about a third the way done. And look at this. He waited for 2 fire bats. So very smart move from Rush. If you know that your opponent is going for something like this, that's where you know that it's going to be mass Zerglings very likely. So there are a lot of Lings going for a little bit of a counter here. You can see just how many Zerglings he's bringing out. Now, if this is controlled correctly by Rush, his fire bats are going to do amazingly. These actually can help him to win the fight even against this many Lings. Now, there is the first sunk coming up. That will change the math a little bit. So he turns around, does not want to attack into that. And I think he's right. If you try to attack into the sunken with the Ling flank, you're going to end up losing. All right, here we go. The Ling's coming up. Let's see this control with those fire bats. The fire bats do a pretty good job, but the surround is serious here from Action, and he will kill off that first bio group. So at the end of the day, I would say that this was better for Action by a bit, but not like a huge margin. His drone count was down at 23 when this occurred. So he skipped a lot of drones that you want to have. He did end up making 2 sunkens. It wasn't as many as I was talking about because of the amount of Lings he was making. But yeah, there we are with that. Now, Rush pushing out to the front with a little Bioforce. He's got to be careful about Lurkers coming across the map. He has this factory, and honestly, it's nearly done. So this was like a 6-minute factory as well. He's really on top of what's going on. He's already figured out that it is Lurker tech, and that allowed him to skip all his missile turrets and just jump up the tech tree very, very quickly. Now, looks like he is going to throw down 2 starports immediately. He's got 3 barracks production going. Looking pretty good. And he's just kind of roaming out in front of his base. He knows that Lurkers could be out there right now. And you have to be careful, because if you walk over hold position Lurker, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So Lurkers being morphed. The Spire is on the way, but so is the Hive. A very quick Hive. Double evolution chamber as well. Carapace upgrades coming. This is probably going to be a rush up into Ultralisks, but we'll see. He is getting the Defiler mount. Interesting. So it's not going to be a rush into Ultras as much. It's going to be more Lurker Defiler for a little bit. And that's like really quick as well. So I think Action will probably try to secure his 4th base, which is so important. Now, a couple more barracks going up. Rush trying to get into 5 barracks production as well as science vessels. So very solid play from him, but he can't really do too much on the map right now. He has to use scans. You notice he actually just scanned right here. He's looking for hold position Lurkers, and this allows him to move into a more containing position, right? This will kind of catch things coming out of here. He's pretty close to this base. And basically what Rush wants to do right now is, again, deny that 4th base from Action. Now, Action, he's getting consumed. He's making Defilers. He's making his Niduses. Is that a 3rd evolution chamber? You know what? Actually, I think Action, he made this evolution chamber, and he didn't realize that he made it. So he's actually made another one here. So he's got 3 evolution chambers, but that's not a thing that you do. Like, if you're going in towards Ultras, you get melee and carapace. You don't actually bother for the ranged attack, because Lurkers are going to be the only thing that you're really using, and it's for the splash damage more than getting the +2. Not that it's a bad upgrade by any means, but yeah, a little bit of a mistake there. Now he is going into the Ultralisk tech. We've got such a great spread from Action. Look all around the map. Zergling here, here, an Overlord. Overlord to the side, Zergling up on this base. Couple Overlords in this area and here as well. It's just a beautiful spread from him, and he can see basically anything incoming. He's really keeping track of what's going on. We also see a few Scourge being set up as anti-dropship placements, where, this is a popular place to drop off units with dropships to get past the front. A couple macro hatcheries coming up. We have chitinous plating for the Ultras on the way as well. Adrenal glands coming. Yeah, right now Action is just rushing up through everything. Really kind of cool play to see from him. You don't see pro Zergs play like this almost ever. Now look at this. He's actually placed a drone on top of these Lurkers, so that's going to make it very hard to irradiate. See, he scans and sees. The drone on top makes it so it's almost impossible to actually click on the lurkers, and the lurkers are stacked as well. So that's going to hold tight for a long time. Looks like he's just kind of standing in front of the natural now. We do have Plague on the way, so right now just Dark Swarm, but getting Plague so that he can start to whittle down this army in a different way as well. Radiate is done. Science Vessel production is real. We're going up to 7 Raxes, 2 eBays, and I think he'll throw down a 3rd command center as well, but Rush really getting in tune with his macro. Look how many SCVs he has, 54. So his economy has not been touched since Action didn't go for mutas, and this has kind of been a game of how hard can you power on both sides. Neither side has really attacked yet, but the fireworks are going to start flying very, very soon here. A couple Scourge flying around, seeing if they can get any pickoffs on Science Vessels. Don't think that they got one as of yet. Little group of bio over here to protect this 3rd base area. Notice he is making the command center to fly over. 2-2 is being researched, or actually, I guess that's actually 2-1 for Rush. So he's got to keep his upgrades on par with the Zerga upgrades. If you get behind, that's an easy way to lose to Ultralists. Not that many Defilers out. He's going to run in and try to radiate. He does get one. Going to lose that vessel, but it is, you know, cost-wise, it's about even. A vessel costs approximately the same amount as a Defiler and 2 Scourge. So it's okay. Not the greatest move. Like, obviously, you want to keep them alive, but he's got to also reduce those numbers. It is quite important to get the Zerg to spend some of his gas. Because you can see Action right now. He's got Plague. He's going into the energy upgrade for the Defiler. He's getting all of his Ultra upgrades, and he's got 1,000 gas in bank. So that's over 5 Ultras worth of gas ready to be spent. Now, notice that Rush is sending over the science facility just to kind of float ahead. He's got a good spread of Marines here. Look, catching a lot of these Lings as they run up. The Lings, though, are really fearsome. 1-1 upgrades already. They are going to have that +2 carapace relatively soon, and they do have the Adrenal upgrade. And now it's time for Action to try to get another base. He's sending his drone over. He's sending his Lings up, and it looks like he's going to try to expand here. This one's a little bit less common because it's closer to Terran. So a sneaky move, gets his drone up, but Rush is on top of it, sending a bunch of units over. Notice he has a giant bio ball in the center. Some Lings starting to run around the map here for Action just to cause some confusion, throw it around. And with the Defilers coming out with some Lurkers, we're going to see if he can actually deny any bases coming out. An Irradiate being used on that Muta to clear that. And, ooh, a Plague comes out, but actually a great spread there from Rush. Only gets hit by a few units, so that doesn't really matter all that much. And he's going to be able to easily clear this area out. Really very Defiler light for Action right now. It seems like he's really trying to spend all of his gas on Ultras, but he definitely does need to hit a few Defiler spells as well. It doesn't feel like he's, like, ahead in a way where just pure Ultras should be able to do too much. You can see that 3rd base is set up for Rush. He has a bunker up. Probably will make a few more of those. Continuing that production really heavily. With the science facility forward, you know battle cruisers aren't coming, so it's going to be non-stop on those vessels, non-stop on those Irradiates. Look at this, a drone trying to sneak out. Some Ultras coming up. He throws the Irradiates down, does do a fence matrix on his own Marine, but he doesn't have that many Marines here. He's got to send more in. All right, he will end up clearing out a few of those. A couple Ultras going up to where he just canceled off that 4th base. And you can see Action, like maybe he's clearing small groups of bio, but without that Defiler support, he doesn't really have the overwhelming Ultralist count that you kind of need to cut through this much bio. All right, Action right now does have those 4 carapace, but we have +2 attack, which is the equal amount from the Marines. Moving forward right now, has a Defiler with this army, so it is a little bit scarier. He's going to really want to focus on getting those Irradiates off, clear out those Defilers. Honestly, I would probably go for Lurkers on their Irradiates as opposed to the Ultras, and then just try to fight the Ultras with bulk. But let's see how Rush does it. Notice Action quickly moving up through the center. Rush going through the other side. He's got to get his units together here for this fight. Here we go. The Irradiate's going to come down. Immediately goes after the Defiler and starts getting some Lurkers here as well. A huge Plague does go down. 2 of the Lurkers irradiated. 1 left over. Throws down another Dark Storm before that Defiler pops. And it looks like Rush staves off disaster there, at least for the moment. His 3-2 upgrades almost done on these engineering bays. Very, very important. And now it looks like action shifting over to the other side here with the Ultraling Defiler. Again, not that many Defilers. Generally, you do want to go up to 4 gases to be able to really support lots of Defilers and lots of Ultras. So that one gets picked off as well. But the Ultra list count is growing a little bit. A lot of Lings coming out. Another Defiler sent up. But again, that's what these scans are for. That's what he's looking for. A couple Irradiates coming down. Gets the Defiler once again. Just irradiating another Ultra as well. He needs to keep his Bioforce together also. I mean, he's got great upgrades, but this is kind of a small army. You really want 4 to 5 groups. You know, a group of medics with 3 to 4 groups of Marines to really have a chance to fight against Ultraling. That's where you start to hit the DPS critical mass, where you can actually really fight against them. Otherwise, like 2 groups of Marines and a group of medic will just get crushed. And you can see he definitely has enough units over here. Looking at the supply, he's up about 60 supply, only 11 of which is workers. So definitely has a very strong standing army. Some Scourge coming up. The Ultras and Lings up here as he tries to secure another base. Here come those Science Vessels. A Defiler coming, though. And look at that. Gets a beautiful Plague down. Gets several vessels in there as well. This army will be crushed if it doesn't run out of there. In the meantime, the rest of his Marines and Medics going through the middle of the map. Got to get those Irradiates off, and he is starting to get them, but with Plagued Vessels, we can see this count start to really fall. Actually, even Scourge is a high health one, but we should see probably a Mutalisk being made pretty soon to try to knock some of these out. Yeah, I hear a Muta right there. Looks like he's making another one as well. Throwing up a Nidus at that 4th base, trying to take another one also. This is a very important tactic that we're seeing here from action. Double expanding. He's kind of, they're at this moment where there's so much micro and macro going on that he just needs one of these bases to finish. And by putting up 2, he's really putting a lot of pressure on Rush to get everything cleared. Now, Rush floating over his own 4th command center, sending a bunch of Marines over. A lot of Dark Swarms out. This is kind of a minefield right now for Rush. He's got all these vessels. He doesn't really have time to repair everything because he's got to clear out the Defilers and get through here. The little pockets of Darkstorm, the little pockets of Mutalisks waiting for red vessels to come in, the Scourge as well. These are all really scary things to have to deal with. And of course, you always have the Defilers with those plagues. Now, 1 Mutalisk left over. He does clear out a couple Ultras. Such big supply right now. Starting to pick off some of these vessels as well. Plague goes down onto those Marines. Get some nice Irradiates off, though, I have to say. And irradiating the Mutas as well. It's like kind of a funny thing. Notice 2 more Mutas being made right now. Another attack with this bio into that 4th base. Looks like he will kill it off. Such an important kill there for Rush. But action continues to try to gain some value with these moves. He has a 4th base up. Maybe he can get a Nidus here. Maybe he can defend this with more consistent Defiler production, but the thing is he's running low on gas. Remember before when he had over 1,000 gas, now he's down very, very low, right? This gas is about to run out. He's got about a minute worth of gas left there. This gas, yeah, just about 3.5 minutes left. And this one quite a bit more, but yeah, his gas income is just getting lower and lower, whereas Rush's totally fine. He can continue to produce his vessels. He's in very good shape. He's hitting those Irradiates. He's losing some vessels here and there, but that can be okay as long as you're getting the Radiates out and you're denying gas for Zerg. All right, this Defiler going to start trying to push. The Ultralisk running into the army here. He has this base up. I love the Spore. This is another great move so that vessels that have been plagued get picked off so quickly against this. And the Muta is going to be able to pick off at least one of those. The rest of the Bioforce coming down, though. He's got what a nice spread. He's got the eBay scouting here, a couple Marines up there to make sure. A few units here and a factory scouting. Another floating building here. Irradiates coming in like mad. Definitely wants to get a plague down onto those. An eraser being used. And that's going to be it. GG. Rush wins game number 1.